Can you tell us a little bit about the first time that you led an investment and brought other people along with you into a deal?
Yeah, it was super amateur hour. It was when I used to be, I was doing a lot of work at Startmate there for a while, and as a partner and as a uh, down here in Melbourne. So that was sort of before Blackbird had any Melbourne presence. Crocker wasn't back. Startmate was a thing. So, and there was a few that I actually just started up a unit trust, right? I think it still exists. One of them just got shut down. One of the company we invested in just shut down. The other one's still going really well. So they existed there, but it was really loose. There was probably only 4 or 5 people in it. It wasn't huge. They were done by my accountants. And what I learned there was a couple of things. One, founders really appreciate when we rock up with a bunch of capital above and beyond the checks that we can write, which is always the problem I was solving. I always figured these syndicates solve two problems. One is founders don't really want their cap table littered with a shitload of tiny little checks, really. And from my perspective, my tiny little check doesn't go very far. So it'd be easier if I could convince some people that we're doing something interesting. So the first one was a Startmate company. Second one was a company that then went into Startmate. One of my I'll tell you guys a story which is a bit funny. So the biggest one, or the beginning of Side Stage Ventures, which is our newest syndicate, which isn't on Aussie Angels only because it didn't exist when we started it. But I ran the syndicate, and it was done through Kylie Fraser's Eleanor venture. And I sort of had this spreadsheet full of people, and I was into Mr. Yum. And this spreadsheet full of people, Mr. Yum's around all of a sudden came to a close. They called me and said, how much do you want? And I looked at my spreadsheet and said, it looks like it's about, I don't know, 380K. And Kylie wouldn't sign the purchase on one side without me having signed, a subscription on the other. So I signed a subscription for 380K in my name, and then had a week to backfill all the money. Turns out that I put an investment that was 4 times my usual investment into the first round at Mr. Yum, which turns out to be a fantastically amazing thing, because it's gone crazy. But lesson learned, and that is, if you're going to rattle a can and start a new syndicate, make sure that people are actually going to come through the goods. The actual challenge there was the founder's like, hey, I've got a few people, can I route them through your syndicate? Yeah. And then when I called them up and said it's time to go, they just ghosted. They just disappeared. Lesson learned there. So I think that the takeaway from all this stuff is the more infrastructure around we can have to make this a little easier for us and a little less risky for those of us in the middle trying to herd the cats is probably a positive thing.